If you're tech people and you know what a CRM is, you will make a whole bunch of assumptions about that product just because I called it a CRM. So you'll say, well, you must compete with Salesforce. They're the absolute leader in that market, the gorilla in that market. So I will just assume that you compete there. I will make assumptions about what that product does. I will assume that it tracks deals across a pipeline. I will assume who the buyer of that is. I'll assume it's the head of sales, vice president of sales. I'll even make an assumption about the pricing, even though I said nothing about what that thing is or who the expected customers are of that thing. But if you assume that Salesforce is my big competitor because they're the absolute leader in that space, I'm not charging more for my CRM than Salesforce is. So this is how this works. What it does is I position that product in a market category. That market category has set off a set of assumptions in the customer's mind about that product. If I do this well, it sets off a set of assumptions about that product that are true, and that's great. Now I've saved marketing and sales a whole lot of time, energy, effort. I don't have to tell you exactly who my competitors are. It's assumed. I don't have to list every single feature. A lot of that stuff is considered table stakes in the category. But it works the same way if I do a terrible job of it. So if I do a terrible job of it, I position my product in a market category such that it sets off a set of assumptions about my product that are not true. Now marketing and sales has their work cut out for them on doing this damage that your positioning has already done, where they're like, no, we don't do that. No, I know you think that. No, it's not that. It's this other thing. In business to business, it's very different. In business to business, typically, there isn't one person buying. Typically, there's a group of people. The average B2B deal, there's 5 to 11 stakeholders in the deal. So if I'm buying accounting software, my boss comes to me and says, hey, I don't like the accounting software we have right now. You go buy us some. That's terrifying. My neck is on the line. If I make a bad choice here, I look bad in front of my boss. The end users don't like it. Maybe the software screws up. I get passed over for promotion. I might actually get fired. So there's stakes in a B2B purchase decision. The way we think about value is also really different. I can't go to my boss and say, I just like the vibe of this software. I have to make a business case to my boss for why we should buy it. You see a lot of companies right now that have been tasked by the CEO, where there are teams that have been tasked by the CEO to figure this AI thing out and make sure we're not falling behind. Yeah. In those cases, the person driving that program, if it is successful, is going to get a promotion. They're going to get a raise. It's going to look really good on them if they can successfully do it. If it's not successful, then they're a bum. But often products just don't happen that way. Like often products, like this particular company, they had built it custom. They had done the deal with the bank in such a way that they owned the IP. It seemed like a good idea. They had a bunch of assumptions baked in there. They never tested those assumptions until later. But it was good enough to go raise money. They just went and raised some money and, okay, now we're doing a thing. So I don't think a lot of startups do enough customer discovery at the beginning to make sure that they've got a thing that people really want. Once we have all of that, then we need to build messaging around that. So if we think about typical homepage of a product, it needs to communicate what is the value that we can deliver that no one else can. And is this for me as the browser, the person that's there? So I need to communicate who's this for, why is it different, why is it better? And that's really hard to do on one page. You don't have a lot of copy to do that. You don't have a lot of ways to do that. But that's what we really have to focus on. The biggest mistake I see technology companies making is they're so certain that their features are valuable and people will just understand what the value of those features are. They're talking about the features, but they're not talking about why the features matter. You're just doing a terrible job at lead generation. Nope. You should go fix that. You just need to get more at-bats. Sometimes what you have is a sales execution problem, like there's something in the way you're executing in sales that isn't working. So my test is often so first of all, do you have good, happy customers that stick with you and love you and are referenceable and whatever? Most of the companies that come to me and say, yes, we have that. Okay. Do you have confusion at the beginning of your sales process? where they come in and they just don't get it. That gap between what a customer knows and what a prospect knows, we can close that gap with good positioning. Most of the storytelling stuff that you see, or at least what I learned as a marketer going through, if you go to marketing school and learn storytelling, a lot of what you'll see is this hero's journey structure for storytelling, which is very common in entertainment. It's the way most movies are written. A lot of stories are written with this hero's journey. So in B2B storytelling, we think about the hero as the customer. Mm-hmm. So the customer has a problem. They embark on this quest. They meet a guide. That's us. We're the guide. And we give them a plan and we help them be successful and avoid defeat. So we have this hero's journey. The problem with that storytelling arc is there's kind of no competitor in there. And if we think about what a buyer is actually trying to figure out is, why pick you over the other guys? A hero's journey doesn't really give us an arc to do that. They're overwhelmed with information on the internet. Every vendor says, we're the best. No, we're the best. No, we're the best. What we need to do in good sales storytelling and B2B is help customers understand how to confidently make a decision. In order to do that, I have to paint a picture of the whole market so they feel good that they understand, if I choose this, I'm choosing to go big on this and low on this. If I choose this, here are the trade-offs for this. If I choose this, here are the trade-offs for this. Or you could choose us, and here's the trade-offs for us. Are we a good fit for you or not? That's what we should be doing in a good sales storytelling, in my opinion. And then lately what I've seen is companies that love the idea of category creation are attempting to create a category when they obviously fit in an existing market category, and it's kind of wishful thinking that this is a new category. So they'll say, no, we don't have any competition. This is a brand new thing. Nobody works like this. And the result is the customer's like, but wait, aren't you just a CRM? Why are you using all these other words? I'm just confused. So I've seen a lot of companies have come to me that have attempted to do category creation or pretend that they're doing this new category of things. And then it's been a disaster. Customers are just very confused. They don't understand why this is different from the existing things they're doing. They can't figure out what bucket to put it in because they're trying to create a new bucket. And it's been a disaster. And then they come to me and they're like, now we got to fix this. And how do we do it? When there's an obvious spot where they could easily position in a very big subsegment of an existing market category, and that would be way easier to sell, way easier to tell the story, way easier to do deals. This is the most fearsome competitor we have in B2B by far, is no decision. And this no decision is not because we've made a decision to stay with the thing we have because we think it's better. It's because we look at our choices, we can't figure out how to do that in a way that we're sure isn't going to get us into trouble, so we just don't do anything. If we really understood that, I think we would operate very differently in B2B. You can see the difference in people that get that and people that don't.